gone insane. An upside-down civilization that cannot be real. A world of madness and terror.
It's the Dana Gould Hour.
Summer in Los Angeles goes down kicking and screaming, and October arrives like a cool hand on my fevered brow. Even if it's still hot, there's pictures of witches everywhere, and that makes me happy. And there's bags of fun-sized candy bars at every grocery store checkout counter, stacked up like sugar-packed sandbags, braced against a flood of costumed youth. Today's guests are Eddie Pepitone, back from London, and Monika Scott, back from the brink. And you'll know of what I speak when you hear her tell it. Each interview piled high with hilarity and fascinating anecdotes, stacked up against the wall of your free time like... Hang on. It's official. This analogy has been canceled. You can follow Eddie Pepitone on Twitter at Eddie Pepitone and see his film The Bitter Buddha wherever fine films are downloaded. And Monika Scott at Mighty Monika, Monika with a K. Me? I'm at Dana J. Gould. If you'd like to see me live, I will be available for viewing in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul at the Acme Comedy Club, one of my favorite places, October 10th, 11th, and 12th. Then I will be going to Atlanta, Georgia for the Laughing Skull on November 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, if you're good. If you have a television, my new special, I Know It's Wrong, premieres on Showtime November 1st. And then, don't unplug it. Frank Darabont's Mob City premieres in early December, details to follow. But for now, sit back, relax, listen to the show, and for God's sakes, plan your costume. Joining me at the mic today is Eddie Pepitone.
This is the sound of my voice.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi, Dana. How are you?
I'm well. What'd you do this summer?
I went to London.
Ooh, that's awesome.
How about you?
My life collapsed.
Oh, well, let me tell you about London.
Please do.
I did a 3-week run at the Soho Theater.
Really?
And yes, and they put me up, the theater owners put me up.
Now, how many's that sitting?
There's a bunch of rooms there. And of course, I had the smallish room.
Sure.
I think they said 150.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And by the end of the run, were you the talk of the town?
By the end of the run, it was 3-4 folks who were in there. No, no, it went well.
Yeah, sure.
It went well. I did think, in my head, of course, I was like going to be, airlifted across Great Britain with people,
showering you in Britannia. Have some jam butties. We saw you on telly.
A statue of me next to Churchill. Stay calm and be manic instead of stay calm and carry on. Stay calm and be manic. That's my saying.
Keep calm and fret.
Keep calm and fret.
Keep calm and fret quietly.
Everyone knows you can't keep calm and carry on. But it was interesting, man. It was interesting because...
Your first time in England?
Basically, yes. Yes, let me say that because I was there for a day when I did Edinburgh the summer before and screened.
You're just changing planes at Heathrow doesn't count as
I screened a movie there, so.
Oh, right.
I had one day, took a train to and fro Edinburgh.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a long train ride.
It's 4 hours.
Yeah, Edinburgh to London?
Pretty long.
That's only 4 hours?
Only 4 hours.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. So anyway.
That's like Boston to Putney.
Putney, how is Putney
Putney,
still...
Vermont? The People's Republic of Putney?
So it was interesting because it was 6 shows a week. It was 8 o'clock every night, or 7:45 actually, kind of early.
Yeah,
and you know this.
I've done an 8-show-a-week run, and it is thankless and brutal.
Yeah, why is that? And this is all I got. No opener. This is it, ladies and gentlemen, or actually it was like this: ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eddie Pepitone.
Did you have a small Asian man as your house announcer?
I had a small
And he didn't
Latin man.
Oh, I was going to say, because even like if you watch the old Bond movies with Sean Connery, all the Asians have looped British accents that they put in later. So in You Only Live Twice, you have this computer bank and an empty volcano manned with these Asian guys, and then the guy opens his mouth and it's like 4 minutes and counting.
I wish they would have, because it was always like Pepitone. And that's all I got, man. And 7:45.
And they weren't stoked by that?
They were not. And also, as you know, to do comedy when it is still light out.
Yeah.
I don't think,
they're antithetical.
I always thought that once I left.
Comedy like masturbation needs to happen in the darkness, in a small, quiet room in front of 100 people. Well, you could say that stand-up comedy is a form of masturbation.
No doubt.
And
no doubt. You ever get really
and it should be treated with the same respect.
Well, in that sense that I had a good run.
There should be, in fact, to bring this symbolism full circle, I think that, the traditional stage equipment of comedians is like a stool and a glass of water. And I think that we should now have a well-folded old T-shirt. Just an old T-shirt on
You're killing me
stool.
because right before the podcast, I masturbated.
Right before the podcast.
Not right,
Anyway, we're going to start in 3, 2.
So I would get that for an intro and come on. And like you said, they weren't stoked for that. So I tried a couple of things up top.
Yeah.
Like one of my things was, listen, I told my small Latin man sound guy, crank the music really loud, and then I'm going to start screaming, stop, that's the wrong music, stop.
Oh, that's funny.
And I did that, and the guy stopped, and then I was going to say, okay, restart the music. I want you to put on this music. And he never did. Like, he never got my stage direction. So that went awry pretty quickly. I went through a few openings. Mm-hmm. But one thing I want to say is that the solo theater was a little bit of a theater crowd.
Sure.
Because it was like an evening out.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I've done pubs in Dublin.
Yeah.
And I did pubs on the run of this theater gig.
Stand-up is the people's art. And it needs no artifice.
Yeah.
It needs no theatrical artifice.
I had to work hard.
Yeah. Like Eric Bogosian, very, very talented. You see him in a theater, very, very funny. You put him in a club, not so funny.
No, right?
Not so funny. Nothing against him. I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. I like all those people. Danny Hawk, I like them all. But you put him in a stand-up club, not the same.
Totally true.
Yeah, which is not to say that every comedian is better than every solo performer, but they're not the same.
Yeah, so I had to work a little bit to get them. And also the thankless part of it is that by the end of week 2, it was just like every day going and doing.
Oh, you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, I got to do that goddamn show. Yeah. But how long did you do?
About 50 minutes.
Okay.
It was like
That's good, though.
Yeah.
It's good and you could do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
When I was doing 8 shows a week, I was doing a one-man show that I written that was basically 90 minutes long, and it was like first word to the last word scripted.
Yeah.
And that with lighting cues and direction, which was a beautiful show, but oh God, it was fucking torture.
Was that your insomnia thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like I came out of the experience a much better stand-up.
Sure, of course. How could you not?
And that was kind of cool. Like I just came out of that, like having to do it every night. I was out of my comfort zone. I was in another country. And
now, you know what? That's funny. Do you know what 30 and 30 is?
What is that?
30 and 30 is this thing that has been tried by people. It's a new thing. It's a couples counseling thing. This is not a joke.
Okay. I thought we were segueing into you.
No, well, clearly not. You and your wife have sex 30 times in 30 days. You have sex every day.
Is that right?
Whether or not you want to or not. And it supposedly brings
But hold
you
it, would
together.
the wife have to agree to this?
Or it's rape. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to.
Yeah, 30 and 30.
Yeah.
And supposedly by the end of it, it brings you closer. I think if you do 30, you do something every day for a month, and you're going to have a better understanding of it. Said the guy with no wife.
I ended the run in London. I went to Dublin and did a show there, which was such a nice capper to it. It was a pub.
Yeah, perfect.
And they were so into it
Sure.
from the word.
Yeah,
go.
you at a pub in Ireland and you in a theater in London are two swings of the pendulum.
Have you done a bunch of performing in overseas?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Only in North Korea.
Here's the thing about performing overseas for me is that, like, when I'm here performing, I realize this may sound pretentious, but I know what the knuckleheads in this country are thinking and seeing every day and how they've been raised. Now, when I go overseas, like when I was in London, I get a little thrown because I don't have my finger on the pulse of exactly what the zeitgeist is.
Right.
I then do kind of prepared stuff.
And
I feel like I can't. What I found they really got a kick out of was me talking about how everybody in America has a gun. I have one on me now. If you don't laugh, me and my wife fuck each other at gunpoint. I'm like, fuck me, you better fuck me. And they love that stuff because they think we are fucking crazy. I watched a comic there who was also...
Well, that's why the French love Jerry Lewis. And this is true.
What, really?
Because the way that Jerry Lewis, when he was in spaz mode, that's their version of Americans.
Oh.
Like, they think that that's what an American is.
Which is
and
probably
that was the
why
initial appeal of Jerry Lewis.
You're right, because...
He is also the total filmmaker.
How is the chair doing?
The chair?
He's gotten out of the balloon stage. I know that.
Yes, he was very swollen because of steroids.
Oh, why am I laughing at that?
Did you get to make fun of their culture at all? Were they open to that?
I'm sure. Yes, they were. Yeah. But you
have to make fun of yourself first.
Totally. Like
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's a conversational rule anyway. It's true. Like if you're arguing with somebody, you concede a point of theirs before you make their points. You know, it's like it is true that XYZ, but you have sex with a bear. You know.
Exactly. But I want to say that, I'm going to do Galway now. There's a Galway Comedy Festival in like a month, and I'm going back to do that. So I feel like I've really kind of popped a cherry of my tentativeness overseas. Like I just feel like I'm just going to do what I do, man, and not get in my head about it.
They caught up with Dennis Leary. They caught up with Bill Hicks.
Hicks they adore.
I know.
Stuart Lee did this hilarious thing. He goes, Bill Hicks. Everybody reviews Bill Hicks. And then someone yelled out something like he's the best. And he goes, he was a coward. He died young. It's easy to have a great legacy when you die young. Each day my legacy gets tarnished that I'm alive. He's such a funny dude. You should check out Stuart Lee. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
He didn't kill himself. It's like
I know, but it was just so funny because he's so revered to hear someone take that opposite.
Sure.
And also very funny how it is hard as you get older to keep churning out really good quality stuff.
Well, it depends if you stay extant. I would counter, as I always do, George Carlin.
Very true, man.
Whose last special is one of my favorite ones.
And you know what I hated? There were so many people who were saying, I don't like him. He's so angry now. I was like,
fuck you.
Wouldn't you be fucking angry too?
Are you familiar with the concept of stand-up comedy? Yeah,
I would hear that a lot. He's so angry.
Yay! Well, he had one special which was called Life is Worth Losing. That was actually
a negative title.
It's quite brilliant in the sense that it happened after his wife passed away, and he was literally clinically depressed. And he has like this hour-long special about death and suicide, and it's like this. It's not even like a stand-up show. It really is like a weird.
Is it still available to see?
Sure, yeah.
I'd love to see it.
I have the DVD here. I'll lend it to you. It's at Falcon's Lair, but
Falcon's Lair.
That's my house. That's my new house.
That's right.
Falcon's Lair.
Boy, that sounds sexy.
When I went to sleep in it for the first time, I said to my still wife, "The Falcon must roost."
When you go through a divorce, do you speak in like catchphrases a little more?
Yeah.
The Falcon must roost.
The Falcon
hiding
must roost.
Intense pain. Like, is that how you hide intense pain? The Falcon must roost.
Falcon must roost. By which I mean chew on light bulbs while standing in the dark.
Was James Bond actually in a lot of pain when he said business is my pleasure. Is it because he could never be in a relationship? He could never commit?
Exactly. I like my vodka martini shaken, not stirred, because he couldn't say, I'm so alone. You know I'm going to die alone and afraid, an old man, masturbating into a diaper because I'm incontinent due to sustained injuries.
I have sex with models all the time, supermodels, but I can't sustain a relationship. I can't plumb the depths of commitment. God damn it. Oh, I've got to have sex with someone. Goodbye. Shaken, not stirred.
My name is Bond, James Bond. Hello, I'm... Oh, that's too much intimacy. I don't want to know your name, please. He just runs. That's why my car is a sub. I have to get away from people or I'll have to have feelings for them.
Also, I've heard the criticism that Daniel Craig is speaking that Carlin was too angry as a stand-up, which is crazy. People are saying that Daniel Craig is too hard a Bond.
Doer or dour?
Yeah, doer.
I don't know. I love them both. I love them both.
Do you like Daniel Craig as Bond?
I love Daniel Craig and I love George Carlin. I love Tom Waits. I like Anger and Cacophony.
I love Tom Waits.
I love.
He's good, Dorian.
James Bond's. Oddly enough, I prefer Roger Moore to Pierce Brosnan. Because Pierce Brosnan once stole a parking space from a friend of mine, and then jumped out of his car and flipped off my friend.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, he's a cock.
Wow.
And Roger Moore runs UNICEF, so he's a nicer guy. I like him more.
That is the thing, though, about being a celebrity. If you do have a bad day, you're tarnished for life.
Yeah, you do.
Because I've heard he's a very nice guy.
Probably is. But he did steal a parking space from a friend of mine in Malibu.
I'd say he's not a very good person.
All even. No, he's I just don't like. I'm not a crazy fan of those movies, but I was saying like Roger Moore, who I loved because he was the James Bond when I was a kid.
Yeah, I liked Roger Moore too.
Imagine being a crocodile. Have you ever seen the way crocodiles look when Steve Irwin would pick them up?
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck? Like, getting picked up by a guy in epaulets is so not a part of a crocodile's reality. Like, it'd be like if your dog came into the house, sat down, and started shuffling cards. It's like that's not supposed to be what you're doing. Exactly. It's like seeing a human being not only not run away from you, but actually approach you and start to grapple. And then you're a crocodile, and then you're one of the crocodiles in Live and Let Die that Roger Moore has to prance across to get off that little island.
Oh, I don't remember that.
They duct tape their mouths shut, and then a British dandy runs across you for an afternoon. Must have been so humiliated. Those crocodiles must have meat for the rest of their life. I still think about it. It's so emasculating.
They're in group. That's their 9/11.
Are you thinking about the day of the shoot? I'm thinking about the day of the shoot. The trainer gave me barbiturates, and then they taped my mouth shut. And then a British man in a white safari jacket kept running across me, take after take after take after take, prancing and prancing and prancing.
Now all these crocodiles' mouths shut. That's my Roger Moore. Horrible. I used to be able to do Roger
all these crocodiles' mouths shut.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. A working man's look at the socio-political issues of our day. And now, Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
This is Political Talk with two guys from Boston. I'm Johnny Condon.
Robbie Solomon here.
We're brought to you by Bevilacqua Heating and Air Conditioning.
We're cool if you're cool.
Bevilacqua.
Yeah.
So I'm with my brother.
Yeah.
I had to drive my brother to a meeting.
Yeah.
Not a big work meeting.
Oh, a meeting.
A meeting where everybody is anonymous.
Yeah, you bring donuts and coffee and you clean up cups.
Right. Everybody sits around and talks about how they no longer have an addiction and they're clawing their eyeballs out because they can't wait to go out front and smoke.
Yeah.
But they're all great people, and I'm with my brother, and then we're outside and I'm talking to some of his friends. And I go, so what have you been up to?
Yeah.
I can't tell you who it was.
Okay.
It was Marty Fitzsimmons.
Oh, yeah.
So I say, so what have you been up to? And he goes, hey, Condi, I'm just trying to walk in my truth.
Oh, jeez.
And that's exactly, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, when did he get deep?
I'm trying to buy tires, I mean, I get it. I understand there's a higher plane of thought.
Yeah.
I watch Kung Fu.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But come on. I don't think you need to talk about walking in your pet.
Yeah, well, remember, this is the family, too, that can't talk about it.
And they get a DUI. Yep. Now they want to talk about everything at once.
I'm going to make amends and tell you not just what was wrong with me, but how you might be able to fix you.
Yeah.
I got some ideas.
I'm just trying to find socks that match.
Yeah.
So I don't look like an outpatient.
I know a lot of people who refuse. They won't wear the same socks. They have pairs. They wear one of each. They just won't do it. That's like their way of not being corporate, even though they're in a cubicle. Like this girl actually said the other night, she goes, my nails, they're green because that's how I express myself. I have a corporate gig and I can't any other way. They own the rest of this. I have to wear a certain thing, but this is for
nails
me.
are all mine.
Yeah.
Well, I would put like pictures of the devil. Don't do green. Whoa, green nails.
The head of the department on
Move
your
over, Keith Richards.
on your middle finger.
Exactly. The devil raping the head of your department.
Yeah, and then
on every finger.
Your favorite reality TV star.
This is what I always thought it should have been an episode of Superman.
Yeah.
Perry White fires Clark Kent because there's layoffs at the Daily Planet, and they got to cut back. I was like, sorry, Clark, hit the bricks.
I like that.
Every time there's a disaster, you vanish.
Yeah, what does he do?
Yeah, you vanish, Clark.
What are you going to do? Here's what you're going to do to save the city. You're going to have to take a nap.
And so then Clark kind of dejectedly packs up his crap.
Yeah.
And then later on, Perry White's walking around the newsroom. It's empty, and he comes on Clark's desk, and there's just a doodle pad full of drawings of Superman raping Perry White.
That's weird.
What a weird thing for Clark Kent to draw.
Yeah. Why do you leave it behind, too?
Glad that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, that's not why you... Hey, rush this down. Let's have it rewritten.
That's how you know Clark and Lois never hooked up.
Oh, yeah.
Because she never came in with a queef looking like an octopus that got hit with a bulldozer.
I don't know if that script would get through Hollywood or not.
This is the issue with Batman. By the way, can I just say one thing?
Yeah, please.
This is what Fitzy should be fucking talking about.
Yeah.
Not walking in your truth. No one cares.
Yeah. I saw him walking some other stuff that wasn't his truth, by
I'm
the way.
sure.
Yeah, there's been nights.
You ever see a dude? I want to get back to the subject.
Yeah.
You ever see a guy walking a cat?
Absolutely. It's a
What
weird,
the fuck?
It's a weird moment.
And the cat is just like, will you look at this asshole?
Yeah, you can't look more feminine as a man.
And cats don't
walking
want
a
to
cat.
walk.
No.
Cats, the only reason cats walk is to find another place to sit and not walk. They have no interest in
that.
walking.
I never thought
like
of
a
it that
dog
way.
has to walk.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that pisses me off about my fucking dog.
I love your dog.
I know you do because you don't live with him.
Yeah.
He's always hungry.
Yeah.
And then you put the food down and he just sniffs it and walks away. Like, he doesn't want to eat the food you give him.
It's been off.
Right. If you're having a 3-day-old pork chop that you got to scrape some of the fuzz off it, but you got to eat.
Yeah.
He wants that.
Oh, yeah.
But if you make him a deliciously savory meal.
Dog meal.
Yeah, he has no interest in it.
What is this?
Dog food is to domesticated dogs what your wife is to you after you've been married 50 years. It's like anything but you, dear. Anything but you. Lenore, I love you. You're in a house coat and it's 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
The fire has gone out.
Wasn't it Teddy Roosevelt who was like walking through a farm with his wife, and they were on 2 different tours, he and his wife, and as they're walking through, they keep seeing the rooster making love to these different hens, and all day long the rooster's on these different hens, and she says, geez, how often does the rooster do that? And they said, all day long, ma'am. She said, oh, tell Mr. Roosevelt that. And so when they're walking Mr. Roosevelt through, the president, they're walking him through, and they go, oh, Mr. Roosevelt, your wife wanted us to tell you that, that rooster does that all day long. And he goes, oh, yeah, would you mention to her it's always with a different hen?
Well, have you ever seen Eleanor Roosevelt?
Yeah, she's hot.
Oh, good Lord.
What's this? My favorite
She
one.
looks like Fat Shemp.
Well, you can't let someone make you feel
And they were
inferior
cousins.
without your consent.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah, you
now
sound like
I'm going to
Fitzy
my
now.
real truth.
Now you're
That's
going to your
it.
real
I'm
truth.
walking in Eleanor's truth.
Which brings me full circle back to
good.
the subject at hand.
Closure, yeah.
They can never, in all these superhero movies, they can never work the cape.
Yeah, no one knows how to
Like,
do that.
even with Batman, with the new Batmans, when you found out the reason for the armor, and you found it, the cape never, ever works.
It's an elegant accoutrement.
Yeah,
and it's like wearing an ascot.
Yeah.
Its time has passed.
Not conducive to fighting.
Yeah. They faced it in that film, the cartoon. What was that? Incredibles. They're like,
Yeah.
everyone keeps dying from the cape.
Yeah, that's
It's
what
a
it's
funny one to go with.
Batman and Superman,
Yeah.
they don't need capes.
They don't need capes.
You know what it makes
You
them?
think it helps them fly? It's like a rudder? No.
No,
It's a piece of cloth.
It makes them dandies.
It does. It pretties them up. It makes their jawline smooth.
I am the dandy from Kryptonite.
Give me a
that's
cape.
that's Clark Kent's Instagram handle.
It's almost to make 'em look
Kryptonian
like-
dandy.
But it's almost to make them look like they're draped in the American flag.
Well, not Batman. He's draped in the flag of his
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah.
Because Joe Chill cut down his parents.
But I mean, like that fluttering flag that you'd see at the ballpark or something. You know, like that's
Sure.
kind of what that cape is, right? I'm just sort of picturing like, why? What?
Now, you said that, and I got the taste for hot dogs.
Yeah. If I went to Fenway right now, I could eat 4 of them.
Yeah.
4.
I'm at the store, and I got a thing of lemonade.
Yeah.
It's a simply lemonade.
I like that.
And I put it in the fridge, and I mix it. Here's my drink. You know what Arnold Palmer
Yeah.
is lemonade and iced tea.
Sure it is.
I mix lemonade and club soda.
Oh, yeah?
And I call it a sissy
Why is it called a sissy?
because it's a sissy drink. It's lemonade and club soda, and I have no problem with it. I'd like another sissy. I'd like a tall, cold sissy right
It's
now.
really good. I like that.
So I get it, and I come home and I make a sissy, and I take a sip, and it tastes like cold, delicious, citrusy, spoiled eggs. And I look.
There's spoiled eggs in the fridge.
No.
Oh.
I had bought lemonade with mango in it,
Oh, geez.
which apparently they put on the shelf without anybody tasting it. If it is possible for a drink to taste like socks, that is what this drink is.
This is bad.
Who the fuck decided to do? Leave flavors alone.
What are they doing?
Leave fucking flavors alone.
They try to reinvent
Cranberry
the
is
orange.
all over the goddamn place.
It's a splash of it and everything now.
Yeah, cranberry. You get snow tires with cranberry.
Hell, you're gonna love it.
Cranberry is so fucking insecure.
It's good for your tract.
Unbelievable. And lemonade and mango, it's like somebody lost a bet.
That's funny. I like
It
that.
is a
This is
ghastly
like the
drink.
one time
Is
a
it
year.
ketchup and ice cream?
Yeah,
People
no.
like them both.
Yeah, put
Let's
them
combine
together.
them now.
Yeah, you need it.
Oh my God. Bacon and antiperspirant. People love them both,
People love the smell of bacon.
and they hate to sweat.
And now, together again.
I often wonder if you put on antiperspirant, does the perspiration just stay inside you, and eventually will you just get like a big waddle of liquid sweat in your
'cause
armpit?
You're filling up your pores with aluminum thing.
Uh-huh.
And it
Is that how
clogs
it-
them. Yeah, so
is that
that's
how
why
it
the
works?
smell don't come out. Yeah. So what you're really doing is you're clogging your pores. You're not actually, it's not a healthy thing to do. Like that salt stuff that just makes you evaporate. Like supposedly that's a better choice. I can't put that stuff on me.
Before we go, can I ask you a personal question?
Oh, yeah.
Do you manscape?
No, I don't.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I do. Here's what I do.
It makes me uncomfortable to do anything to look better.
I understand that completely.
Yeah. I think that it
On my
seems
natural
a little
self.
gay.
If I see any hairs peeking up over the horizon of my shoulder,
Yeah, sure.
I will take them down.
Understand.
I do not care what happens out of my line of sight,
Beyond what you can see.
but I do not like the Serengeti
No, I understand.
over my shoulder blades
I don't want to.
because I look like an old Italian man
It's like
or a woman.
The moon's coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It looks like a puma might be stalking.
Yeah, you remember, Johnny, when I was a kid, I never had a beard. I had like peach fuzz till I was
Yeah.
21. So
And you had a lovely
Well,
crustache.
thank you, but it never worked, is what I'm trying to say. So now to have like the gray, white hairs come in like fishing wire.
Sure.
And have it come in those weird places like you're talking about. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Who planted this in me? It looks like freaking fishing wire.
Just at the tip of my sternum, I have this crazy tuft of hair.
I'm convinced that we're like going ape as we leave this earth. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going ape. Like something's weird here.
We're
This is
turning
weird.
into Lancelot Link.
Yeah, you got a hair on your ear and you're like, what do you do with a hair on your ear?
Yeah.
I've seen them on people, but I didn't ever think I'd have one. I'm very thrilled.
Big white wiry ear
You
hairs.
see like a Japanese or a Korean man out of great respect to your cultures, folks. I'm just saying. It seems like they celebrate some of those hairs that come out of like a mole on their face.
I saw a guy
With a ribbon?
I saw a guy at the farmer's market up at Kelly's. I was up there buying pumpkins. He was a Japanese. He had his eyebrows like combed. Like literally they were like I'm not
some.
lying, inch and a half.
Yeah, I got some others don't have, and I'm going to celebrate it.
Yeah, but
It's a celebration
it's
of
the
self.
second thought. I have something others don't have, possibly for a reason.
I might be able to fly with this.
I'm going to get bat wings surgically put on my penis. No one else has them, possibly for good reason.
Whales use this to eat. They have baleen, and they get krill in it. And that's what perhaps the main...
The seal is broken on the baleen and krill references.
He may dive into the ocean, get out, and have a snack.
If you're going to bring out krill, we got to wrap this
That's
up.
probably the time, yeah. The summer's over.
Do you know the joke about the Serengeti?
No.
Well, I'll leave you on this.
All right, good.
So there's a lion, and it's having an affair with a zebra.
Uh-oh.
This male lion goes out, and every day it meets this female zebra.
Yeah.
And they get it on.
Yeah.
They're fine with each other.
Sure. I met a girl from West Roxbury once. Keep going.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So they're out there, they're going at it, and the lion sees in the tall grass his wife approaching,
Oh, geez.
stalking through the tall grass. And the lion whispers into the zebra's ear, "Quick, act like I'm killing you."
Ah, Connie, that's a good one.
That's a professional joke.
We're cool if you're cool.
Get out.
Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
Joining me at the microphone, comedian, sketch actress, and NPR hooligan, Monika Scott.
This is the sound of my voice.
Now, how was your summer, Monika?
I mean, mine was okay. How was yours? What did you do this summer?
Well, super great thing happened.
Okay.
I acted in this show, Mob City, formerly Lost Angels, formerly L.A. Noire. It premieres, I believe, December 8th on TNT.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
And if you need something to warm up to it,
Okay.
my Showtime special premieres November 3rd
Perfect.
on TNT. No, that premieres on Showtime.
Okay.
So it's a big autumn. Did the show. That was over the summer.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
I have no complaints. That was 5 stars. Well, now, how about your summer?
Oh, yeah, my summer. I was caught up in the middle of a mass shooting.
Well, I guess we'll talk about you.
Yes.
A real rifle.
Real rifle.
Real rifle. You weren't the person. It wasn't yours.
No, it wasn't mine.
A little background. This was at
Santa Monica College, which is where KCRW is located.
which is the radio station that you
Which
work
is
at.
the radio station.
And this was in the summer. This was a national story.
Yeah, this was my first experience being caught in the middle of a national tragedy.
Really. And cuckoo bird with a rifle.
Yeah. Yeah, so Cuckoo Bird started down the street. He started a couple blocks away. So
let's set the scene.
Yes.
It's July, June.
It's June 8th or June 7th.
Okay. June 7th, Santa
Friday.
Monica, California.
Yeah.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Clear skies. Beautiful sea
Yeah.
breeze coming in.
Yeah.
Sea breeze blowing down Pico like it's trying to get to the Westfield Shopping Plaza.
But it'll never make it.
But it'll never make it down that far. It's trying to get to Sentinella Feed and Pet Supply at Sepulveda. Cool ocean breeze cruising down Pico like it's got to get to Smart and Final.
Exactly.
And it's a Friday. You're working at National Public Radio, and then you're going to blow out and have a great weekend.
Yeah. Can't wait. It's actually my day off. I don't work Fridays.
You don't work there, but you're there.
Went in.
Because you love tote bags. Why are you there?
I had to go in for just like a couple hours to get a couple things done before the weekend.
Okay.
It was actually toward the end of the spring semester. So there were relatively few students on campus. The ones that were there were studying for finals. Graduation was going to be on Monday. So
Okay. Yeah, it's early summer.
yeah, because it's supposed to be a pretty easy day. So I walked in. I was there maybe 20 minutes. I hadn't even unpacked my things yet. I had like kind of all my bags, my computer and everything was still in my bag.
Various salads
My various,
in burp seal containers.
my various quinoa salads in mason jars.
You eat 11 different quinoa salads a day.
If you open the refrigerator at any NPR affiliate station, it's just full of stacked salads.
It's a
mason
bukkake
jars,
of quinoa.
which is just as disgusting as it sounds.
Which is actually more disgusting
Yeah.
than a regular. I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, but solid morning. So my first interaction with what was going on was I heard a car crash.
Ooh.
In the distance. We're in the basement of the cafeteria, so there's windows all around toward the top of the room. Mm-hmm. So
like a bunker.
Exactly like a bunker.
Right.
And I heard a car crash, and I was hearing these like popping sounds, and I didn't really know what was going on. It was distant enough that I didn't panic about it.
Right.
And then
you just thought
it's like
someone's making popcorn.
Yes, exactly. Some asshole in an office is making popcorn.
You hear those pops, and the first thing you do is wait for it. Soon we'll smell butter.
Yeah, exactly. And then a few minutes later, 3 or 4 of my coworkers came bursting through one of the doors, like sweating. And we have a satellite office.
NPR coworkers.
Yeah.
Birkenstocks burning.
Beards, lots of beards, flannel shirts.
Burning cork on the pavement. Birkenstocks a-flying.
Yeah.
It's funny now. It's been 3 months.
They came,
at the time, it was not funny, I'm sure.
It was not. But at the time, it was confusing because we're also like calm and low-toned and mild-mannered.
Right. And I like that you pronounce the L in calm.
Well, that's the NPR in me.
I think from now on,
Calm.
we should also say it in walk. Let's calm down and take a walk.
You're the first one to ever point out that I do that.
Let's write in chalk that we will always calm down and take a walk.
Wait, how do you say it then? Calm?
Calm.
Calm.
Calm down.
No.
Calm. Or if I'm in Boston,
I feel like you're saying it wrong,
if I've been in Boston for 3 days, calm down.
Not even a
Jesus.
hint of an L in that
Don't
word.
shit yourself. Get a potato. That's how my dad says potatoes. Potato. You want a potato? I don't know.
Does he always say potato in such an irritated tone?
Potato. Yeah. Yes. My father says everything in an irritated. Good morning. He just starts off irritated. Good morning.
Oh, it sounds like such a delight.
Yeah. I always thought if a ghost was not scary, but was still a ghost, if it didn't really have an agenda, would it just be like, boo? Boo? Yeah, boo? It's just like just trying, yeah, boo, boo. Little finger pistols. Does it always have to be malevolent? Boo. And that's my dad as a ghost. Boo.
Right. It's just really specific ghosts that behave that way. The nice ones don't fuck with us. That's all it is.
Yeah. Shh, here they come. They're very polite.
We don't want to bother them.
Ghosts are much like possums that way.
Let's just go in the other
They
room.
have long, hairless tails.
That is the disgusting part.
My daughter wrote the funniest thing on a little card. I found it in her room, and I actually put it in a little frame. It said, there are ghosts all over the world. There are ghosts everywhere. None of them have hair or feet. Which they don't.
What an
if you
interesting
draw a ghost,
observation.
it's true, but if you draw a ghost, none of them have hair or feet. Quite brilliant.
She might be a genius.
She might be a genius. She's an 11-year-old girl obsessed with Spinosauruses.
Oh my God.
I know, it's fantastic.
She sounds
So
fun.
lucky.
I want to hang out with her. We're all there. We're all working. We hear car crash. All of a sudden, popcorn. We hear car crash and popcorn.
You hear this?
And then a few coworkers come running in, like very distraught, like upset. And that's when we found out. They were like, "There's someone with a gun on campus. There's like SWAT team." And then it was like chaos for 2.5 hours. Like
2.5 hours.
From them saying that to us getting escorted out, it was chaos because we're in a basement, so we have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Half of our coworkers are in, we have like an office that's a converted classroom, so it's just out in the open. And
above ground.
Yeah, and for what we're being told, it's like right on his path. But we still don't understand his path. We don't know how many people there are. We're like confused.
Right.
We then eventually were able to turn on the news.
Is it an attack by AM radio?
Yes. They're trying to take us down one at a time.
First Michael Smirkanish. Then you.
But so it was total chaos because then we all start texting like the people left over in that office to find out like if they're okay.
Are
what's
you
happening.
shot?
Yeah. People are saying they ran right in front of like a big SWAT guy. And that stuff was all terrifying. So these coworkers in the satellite office, once they hear shots fired, they
quit immediately.
They quit, and we've never seen them again. They run out of their office to run into the basement office, which is like,
Are they crossing open ground?
They're crossing open ground. They're
Wow.
running out.
I guess that's just natural behavior,
Right,
fight or
just
flight.
thought,
I gotta
like,
run or
I'm going to go underground. is what they thought.
Yeah.
So they did that. They ran out, and there was a guy. It was an empty hallway. In this, like a, built in the 60s college building. So it's like a little rundown, kind of dark.
Yeah. Very room 222.
Yes. So it's just this empty hallway, but they run out and there's one guy who's walking down and he's like a SWAT guy. He's got a huge assault rifle on his back. And one of the people that ran out turned to him and they go, "Where are we supposed to go?" And he goes, "I don't know." And
they're lucky that he wasn't the guy. I mean, how did they know he was? Well, I guess he had insignia.
He was the guy. Yeah. So
Holy.
he was dressed head to toe in like he had like a helmet and he had like all the gear on and and all in black, and they just in that instance you want that person to be an authority figure. So they saw him and they go, "Where are we supposed to go?" And he goes, "I don't know." And they're like, "Okay." And they run out the door. He didn't take a shot at them. He didn't attack them at all. He just kept, but he was walking calmly. He wasn't running. And
that's just a crazy miracle.
That is a crazy miracle. Four of my coworkers ran out in front of him, and this like at the same time, and that's what happened. The only reason we know it was him is because later when we get escorted out, we get run right past his body, and I was next to one of the girls who had run out, who just the second we saw his body, she started sobbing and screaming, and she was like, "That's the person we ran in front of," and that's how we knew that they ran right in his line of fire, right in front of him.
Holy shit.
It was terrifying. And as they run in the office and we're confused. We don't know what's going on. And then outside, then we hear a firefight. Then we can really hear police firing at him firing back. We can hear it kind of moving across the campus. And then now it's even more chaos because people are getting texts from people that are located in different places. There's someone in the police department who's texting one of us, and we don't know what to believe.
Right? Yeah, of course.
And so they're like, "There's 2 shooters. There's 3. We don't know what's happening."
And I was just in town, listening to it on the radio, and there's 2 shooters, there's 3 shooters, there's a fire. They found people dead in an apartment.
Yeah,
there was all sorts of. His father was in a car or some weird thing.
Yeah. Well, so the whole path that the guy took was he started at his father's house. He killed his father and his brother, set the house on fire.
Okay. So far, I don't have really a big issue with this guy.
So far, I get it.
So far, it could be anyone.
Then he walks out into the street, carjacks a woman, but instead of taking her car, he makes her at gunpoint drive him down the street.
Which was the downfall of the Boston Marathon bombers.
Is he didn't make a woman drive him down the street?
They carjacked a guy, and he drove them to the gas station and escaped at the gas station, called in.
Yeah.
That.
Ugh. I mean, it's so chilling to even imagine being that person that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he let this woman go. He didn't keep her. I mean, I guess, had only a 20-minute plan. So so it didn't matter if she got away.
Losing so much respect for him.
He did not plan that very far ahead. But yeah, he gets out of the car at Santa Monica College. A bus passes him and he shoots all the way across the bus. So the bus pulls over. No one was injured in the bus.
Wait a minute. Stop. Does he shoot into the windows or below?
It's not the windows. It's just below the windows.
A big blue bus?
Metal, where that metal part is. So it's not the tires. So it doesn't crash the bus. So that he's shooting into the bus, and the bus just swerves out of the way and stops.
Under the feet of the people on the bus. Not a smart.
No, he didn't seem...
Not what one would call a kill shot.
No,
unless one wants to injure a bus.
It was at that point, it almost seemed like like an anarchy shot. Like he was just trying to like make some noise. Then he walks out into the street.
Much like John Cusack can say anything with a boombox.
You know, it's like there's other ways to make noise. You should have explored some more options.
Write a play.
But so he goes out into the street, and now he's starting to walk toward the campus, and a car turns down the street, and it has the Santa Monica College groundskeeper and his daughter. And he shoots him, kills him immediately.
Oh, okay. Now it's not funny.
He crashes.
Story just got not funny.
Right. He crashes.
His daughter's with him in the car?
His daughter's with him in the car. She lives for a few days, dies a few days later.
Oh, she's also hit.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't, so I don't know.
How old was she?
25. But so there's still like memorials to him where his car crashed, because his car crashed straight into the staff parking lot.
Okay.
And then he kind of like wanders into campus and then just starts opening fire on everybody. Except for apparently my 4 coworkers.
Except for your coworkers, which is just so...
It's so chilling. Because then I have another coworker that said that
so bizarre.
She opened the door to that office too. Like you know, maybe 6 seconds after they ran out, she opened the door to figure out what to do, but opened the door right into him, saw him, and she knew it was him, and just like slammed the door closed and ran. And then her and several, maybe like 10 people, like hid in this, including some students who just ran into the room to get out of the way, hid in a studio we have there. That's like the only lockable room, but it's like 5 feet by 5. It's like so small.
Right. And does it have like foam rubber egg cartons all over?
Yeah, exactly.
He's coming. Shh.
Because I guess if they all got down, I don't know. I mean, he didn't even try to wander into the room. But,
right.
But yeah, and then he walks out, kind of gets into a firefight with the police, runs into the library and opens fire. The police kill him in the library.
There's no reasoning
for him to come to the campus.
To who he's shooting. I mean, he's not like, I'm going to kill...
Because the people on campus...
Geology department or something.
He wasn't a student. Like, he had no, like, association with the school that I was aware of.
That's a big announcement. The shooter has no association with Santa Monica City College.
Well, so, we were all evacuated by, like, 2 p.m. At 5, they released this press release.
You're evacuated?
Yeah.
How do you know it's not him coming in?
So 20 SWAT officers flood into the station, and they're screaming at us. They're like, you have to go right now, go. Like, and they like make us all collect in one side of the building. I was lucky that I hadn't unpacked my stuff yet, because I could just grab everything. So many people left their wallets, keys, cell phones.
My quinoa!
Their quinoa salads.
People bellowing. Get your quinoa and go.
My beet salad.
I need to get back in there. Why? My quinoa. All right, make it quick.
They made kale juice this morning.
I'm going to juice fast. I can't. I have to get it. Which fast? The Kinsey fast. Go. Put some ginger in that.
But they
Does it make you poop too much? Yes, it does. Go. That's how I feel all the time.
Oh, gross. So they pushed us to the one side of the station. They were like, we all get there, and they go, we don't know if there's another shooter. We need to get you out as fast as possible. Run with your hands in the air.
You just don't care.
And we all danced, and it was just like a real stress relief.
Now I'm going to open this door, and you're going to boogie until you just can't boogie no more. Why are you guys in lavender jumpsuits?
Here, put these on.
You're the Harlem Globetrotters.
Are you the SWAT team? It doesn't feel like you are. But yeah, so they were like, it was such an unsettling thing for them to even say to us. They're like, we don't know what's going on up there. Just come with us.
You leave the building in the Soul Train line dance. Like you all line, and one goes down and the other person goes down.
And that was just to lighten the mood. And it worked.
That was done 3 times a day during the Bataan Death March. Now you have a Soul Train line dance. I hope Ricky and Robin dance together today. They're wonderful. Why am I having Nazis running the Bataan Death March?
That inappropriate accent.
Totally wrong. Nazis were also at the Bataan Death March.
Nazis there.
It was just villain central. They just, look, we're having a death march.
We're going to invite all the villains from the community.
Exactly.
We want to build a stronger community together.
We're inviting all the villains to our death march. Death march and bake sale.
So if you have a specialty, come on, cook it. Maybe you put some cayenne pepper into the brownies. I
Whatever
don't know.
you do.
You're evil, you know?
Yeah,
Get a little silly with it.
Exactly. Throw in a Band-Aid. No story gets good after the phrase, after I found the Band-Aid in my salad. There's no happy ending.
Do you mean no story gets good because that's the best part of the story?
Yeah, that's the best
You're like,
part.
let's stay there. Where'd it come from? What was on it?
I did find once in a...
Gross. I'm already grossed out.
it's gross worthy. A coffee from like a diner to go. I go home. Not Starbucks.
Sure.
Take off the lid. Put in a sugar. I'm stirring it. Thing floats to the top, and I thought it was the sugar packet.
No.
Band-Aid. And I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and I'm on the phone with a friend of mine, and I go, he's talking to you or something, and I just go, you're not going to believe it just happened. What? I go, I'm stirring my coffee that I just got at the bakery, and there's a Band-Aid in it. And my friend went, Jesus Christ, a chill just went down my spine.
Yeah, that
Oh,
is
my God.
the worst. That is the worst.
I got to go. I hear popcorn on the... Wait, that's not popcorn.
Don't. Yeah, I can't make popcorn anymore. It's troubling now.
I wonder if people in firefights, they hear Jiffy Pop and they just curl up like Martin Sheen at the opening of Apocalypse Now. You fucker! It's just Jiffy Pop! You fucker!
There has been, though, since then, some moments where I've curled up like Martin Sheen.
Yes, well,
and they've been inappropriate. Like, I'm always like, oh, this isn't, it's confusing to people that I'm reacting this way.
I do want to get into that, but so the college makes an announcement.
Oh, yeah.
That angered you.
Oh, yeah. The college, well, they sent this press release out after we had been evacuated and we're all like shell-shocked. And it says...
Michelle shocked?
And it says, just to be clear, this wasn't a school shooting. It didn't start here. This person has no affiliation with the college. And it was like, come on, don't.
But you are school douchebags.
Right. Like,
just
don't
so we're clear.
it felt so like it was like taking away legitimacy for like what happened. Like, I was like, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think that school was about to start again. So I wonder if they were worried. I know people were a lot of students pulled out for the summer and they were like, no.
Yeah. That's a bad start to the summer.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Not going to this school. Yeah. So
I will work at Whole Foods.
Forever. Which they might do anyway if they go. But yeah, so we spent 2 hours like watching the news, getting texts, being confused. And then SWAT storms in, they scream at us, lavender jumpsuits. And
line dance.
Right, line dancing.
Jazz hands.
But so they tell us, put your hands in the air, run at the same speed as you can't handle that sentence.
I can't handle it. What's the dress code? Smooth criminal. Which is my favorite dress code. What's the dress code? Smooth criminal. As if you had to ask.
A lot of fun, that dress code. But so
that was on the Janet Jackson poster years ago. It was a big billboard on Sunset, and she had a concert, and it just said dress code smooth criminal. That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen.
You're like, what does that mean?
Fuck you, Janet. Fuck you.
Come on, I think you probably thought it.
Not everybody can do that. Honey, get that cartoonishly oversized zoot suit out of the closet. I'd like to go to a cart. You work for the DWP.
They just keep it in the main closet, too.
They keep it in the main closet. The zoot suit that makes me look like I'm an animated dog in a Tex Avery cartoon.
I mean, everybody's got one of those, though. That is like a staple. It's like the little black dress and that.
Yeah, that. Cartoonishly oversized zoot suit.
But so they tell us they don't know what's happening upstairs, and they're just like, just run at the same pace as us. And we go, okay. So we're flanked by them. And we get...
Now you're a peloton of terror.
Right. So now we get upstairs. The one thing I wish they would have said is, oh, by the way, it's super fucked up there. So, like, don't look around. Because they didn't tell us that. And we got up there, and it was a nightmare.
It's like Lydia in episode 2 of Breaking Bad this year.
No, I watched that, and it was a real mess.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
I was a real disaster after that.
Oh, really?
I was watching it with friends, and I had to leave.
Oh, really? Yeah, I keep wanting to show you the cool pictures of me shooting a gun from my show. I'm not interested.
No, thank you. Give me a year.
New.
But yeah, so we go upstairs, and it's like, it was scary enough to hear the sounds. But, like, when you got up there and you just, it was like there was blood everywhere.
Oh, really? How many people did he kill?
He killed 8 total.
Jesus Christ.
So there was, like, a woman who was a scavenger of recyclables. She wasn't homeless necessarily. She, like, lived in the area, but she would come to the college and with her little cart.
Oh.
And so, like, we were running past, and I just saw, like, there was, like, blood on the ground, and, like, her cart was turned over. And I just started sobbing. I was like, what is happening? And then they also didn't...
No, you're up on the ground level.
We're up on the ground level.
When they go up, because you're underground, so they go up. All right.
Yeah.
And you're outside.
And we're outside, and there's helicopters all around, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was it was just so, like,
surreal.
Every sense was being hit by this, like, weird experience. And we're running, and so we're, like out of breath and, like, confused. And then, so we run past, just like scene after scene of like weird, bloody, scary things and like backpacks thrown everywhere. And then we hit Pearl Street is the street behind the college. And so we hit the street, and I look over because there's 2 men in like fatigues, and they're standing there and they're holding rifles. And then I look at them, and I look down, and the body of the shooter is there. And it's just like bleeding. Like they didn't clean it up. They didn't put like a sheet over it like they do on TV.
No, they're not very concerned.
And so
no one is interested in his dignity at that time.
Right. But it is interesting because then people I've talked to since then had like mixed feelings about it. Because I wished they had said, like, look at your feet when you go up here.
Right.
Because I didn't like... I've never seen a dead body. I think I said it on this podcast.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
So I've seen one now. Update.
That's why we had you on. Monika Scott, everybody.
But, I mean, they just, like, run us right by it, and it's, like, bleeding out. I mean, there's still a stain there from where his body was. Now. Like, they were almost standing as if it was, like...
So the sidewalk there is not unlike... the keys of the organ in the Simmons house in The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Yes, exactly.
I think anybody who has seen the movie knows the next question I'm going to ask. Did they use Bon-Ami? I don't know how many people are getting that, but the people who do get it
are loving
it. That's how I roll. Not everybody's going to get it. But the right people are going to get it in a big, hard way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that happened. I see a dead body, and that was troubling. And they were also, they were standing like it was a trophy. You know what I mean? Like the behavior felt like, look, we saved you. You're welcome.
Yeah, they don't like those guys. They take those as
right.
To quote the movie Apocalypse Now again. They like to take them down with extreme prejudice.
This is an Apocalypse Now heavy episode.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But so then they run us down the street, put us onto a bus, like a big blue bus, and but not the big blue bus. That bus, one is quarantined.
That bus is crying.
That bus is crying.
Just air brakes systematically hissing like sobs.
Which is what it sounds like when I cry too. And then we're like taken out one by one and interviewed by the FBI. And
really? The FBI?
Yeah.
So they come down.
There was like, I saw when we were out there, I watched this like mobile command unit like come and park behind us, and then there was like these 4 FBI agents that would come out.
Are they in suits?
They're in suits.
Did they look like Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks?
None of them did. It was upsetting.
They look more like Jeffrey Jones from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
a little. But and most of us didn't have any you know.
What is that? I heard pop.
I heard sounds.
Did you think it was popcorn?
Came out. That was it.
Do you make microwave popcorn? How often? Why?
What? Am I under arrest right now?
You know, you burn one of those bags, you're going to ruin your microwave. I know.
Well, and then they also...
If I make mac and cheese, it still smells like burnt popcorn. It's been 6 weeks.
So there's another layer to this, which is the president was in town that day. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, I remember that. President Obama, not the president of Santa Monica College.
President Obama was in town, like 3 miles away. So for a long time during this whole thing, there was no aerial footage on the news because the airspace was shut down.
And to the Secret Service, like, we have a shooter. Tough.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as we were being evacuated, I had this really funny moment.
That is, by the way, just as that's like a movie thing.
Yeah.
We need an effort. The president's in town. The president's in town.
I know. It was like, what a joke. What a joke that is.
I know. And then the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
But like, as we were being evacuated, I looked up. And like Air Force One was like booking it north up the coast. Like they were like,
really?
Goodbye. Like, and they just got him the fuck out of there.
I didn't know that. I did not know.
Yeah.
Was he off the plane? When the
happened?
shooting,
he was like in a building, like doing a thing. Like I think at maybe some benefit or fundraiser. Or
I'm sure it was.
There's no other reason to come.
He was teaching a class at the Learning Annex in improv.
But so,
first of all, you have to agree to everything and add information. Barack Obama and John Boehner are teaching an improv class.
Oh.
You can't just add information, you have to exaggerate. Humor is rooted in exaggeration. The problem is we have a spending problem in this country. That's my John Boehner that I can only do. Well, you work for NPR. I figured you'd get it.
Sure.
My killer John Boehner impersonation.
It doesn't kill at parties. I'm so surprised.
Let me tell you something. Now that I am single...
You're going to get them all with that.
I hit the party circuit. I crack out that John Boehner impression. Mm-hmm. Avalanche of pussy.
I'll bet. That is...
I
often hear the girls in...
I wear white loafers and a Ban Lawn shirt.
Because the dress code is smooth criminal.
What's the dress code? The dress code for... the State of the Union dress code is smooth criminal. It's always been smooth criminal. I am in an oversized jumpsuit. Dancing like the animated dog in the Arsenio Hall Paula Abdul video from 500 years ago.
500 years ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, there was just like watching him bail and go up the coast.
Yeah.
There was and I was having the worst experience in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And see, like as far
to
as
see
I
your
could
president.
see. Yeah. And I just looked up and I was like,
that's all, folks.
like it was just this like apocalyptic feeling of like as far as I can see is devastation. He's bailing.
Yeah.
What is happening? Why are you abandoning me?
Yeah.
I voted for you. Like. I was like, you can't abandon me right now, which was an insane thought.
The guy on the poster for Hope is leaving town.
Because your situation is too fucked up for him.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Hope is abandoning you. Yeah, that's a tough one.
But, I get it. He had to go. I understand.
Yeah, he had
to go. There was just
I hear Santa Barbara's nice.
Yeah. He was like, oh, let's go. Sorry. I got to go.
I did a podcast at Nerd Melt, walked into a coffee shop across the street on Sunset Boulevard, and there was an open mic going on in a coffee shop. And it was freaking, and we were talking about doing comedy during the day. Now, I'm talking about, this was like 6 o'clock, which out here is like 3 o'clock anywhere else.
In the afternoon.
Because the sun is blaring, it's 100 degrees, and, it's a coffee shop open mic. The foamer is going on. Yeah. And of course I knew a couple of people there and they were like, Eddie, would you like to do some time? Now I am a stage junkie. Like,
you're a grand old gal of the theater.
No, but I mean, I used to, not be able to not perform. Do you know what I mean? Like I had to perform 6 nights a week or I'd be miserably depressed. Now I'm down to 3 nights and I'm fine. But when I walked in, I was like, no, I don't want to. And I was kind of enjoying watching people perform, quote unquote. And then I got up. I got up and I did 5 minutes at an open mic in the blaring sunlight, just screaming about the coffee house art that was on the wall.
Yeah.
And also it was the time when...
There's no depth in coffee house art. All the paintings are 2D.
And it was also the time when that lunatic DiMaggio murdered...
Yeah.
And kidnapped this girl, and he was still... And I was like looking for a new car at the time. And when I got the Amber Alert on my phone, the only thing I was like, a Nissan. 88. It's not a bad car.
A good car. There was one that was going on at a laundromat.
Oh, I've done those.
Yeah,
by the way.
I did one in San Francisco, but it was above the laundromat. This was in a laundromat.
Lucky. Oh, yeah, in a laundromat.
Yeah, I don't want to put on airs. I don't think that stand-up should be inflicted on people.
Yes, nice way to put it.
I'm going to start going into people's hospital rooms. Like on Wednesday, the dog, they get like the friendly golden retriever comes in. It's a big thing in hospitals. They bring in a dog and you pet the dog.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Wednesday, there's a comic who just comes in and just, so what's it? What do you, oh, so you must, so that's how you lost weight? You had your liver removed? Like, no, it's a terrible thing in my dad. This is just an insult comic going from room to room in a hospital.
I think it would be funny if comics were actually in ORs, like just to calm down the doctors, like, while they were doing surgery. And they would just be in like, all right, well, you may have a guy here who is, he's very close to dying. But I'll tell you what real death is. Real death is dating while you are over 50. That's real death. Like,
I know it's embarrassing that you sewed up the patient and left 2 instruments inside. Have you ever had your ATM not work at Ralph's and they're looking at you like you're a criminal?
There should be more comedy going on
People
when
should have
actual events are happening. The laundry
comedians should be inflicted on people more.
Inflicted is the word, because I did one in New York City. And it was just so horrible. People looking up from their laundry,
So that was a creepy
That's
feeling.
crazy. We're going to get you out of here. But
Right.
what do they think? He's going to kill everybody in LA until he gets to you.
I mean, yeah, well, because initially there was like a bunch of talk where people were like, even the news, it started with the...
it was crazy.
They were like, oh, well, it's because Obama is nearby. And I was like, this doesn't really feel political. Like what he's doing.
No, and did they ever find out? Because the key is, look, I'm no detective. Mm-hmm. Killing your dad and your brother and burning the house down, that's a big... that's not a sidebar to this.
Right. No. There was a suicide note.
Look, this is a true statement.
Okay, go on.
I'm not a detective.
Okay.
But I play one on TV.
Okay. Oh my God, you get to say that
I get to say that. There is something there.
Yeah.
That's my years of police work.
Sure. There is something.
Uh-huh.
There was a suicide note.
Okay.
So, but I don't think it was made public. So I don't know. I mean, but he was crazy.
It would be awesome if it was in just beautiful calligraphy. He worked on it for years. It's so gorgeous, we have to show it to you.
Look, I know it's an invasion of privacy, but here it is.
Furthermore, and to wit.
Well, and his...
Memory brings me back to those halcyon days of the 70s. This is the best suicide note I've ever read. I can't put it down.
There's like a cemetery across the street from Santa Monica College.
Oh.
They
should have shot him in the cemetery.
It
would be like throwing food right into the toilet. Just really cutting out the middleman.
Just getting it done. You know what I mean? Handled.
Just shoot him right in the hole.
Well, they buried him there.
Really?
Yeah, and his father and brother. And the mother...
Please don't tell me they're buried together.
I think they are.
That's a terrible...
Isn't that the worst?
Terrible fate.
Well, because the mother is still alive and is like, oh, sorry, I loved all of them. You know what I mean?
Oh, my God. What she must...
I know. It's
her burden. She's doing open mics now, which is also strange. She's at UCB
She's
tomorrow night.
funny.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do Comedy Bang Bang for obvious reasons, but or Comedy House Burn Down.
No, none of those.
Not into those. Oh my God, that poor woman.
I know, it's so sad. I mean, but that was the whole experience of the shooting. Like I know I was like relatively protected, but it's still
to be that close to death
is like horrifying.
Yeah.
And to like there's so many sounds that I couldn't like unhear for a long, because I could hear the students screaming like when they were running.
Yeah,
away.
real screams are
the worst. They're just the worst.
Real screams are the worst.
But yeah, it was, and then also we couldn't get our. So then there was this whole like complicated thing of like a bunch of people left their stuff inside, and we were trying to figure out when we could get back.
Yeah, and you were saying you couldn't get your car.
I couldn't get my car for 24 hours. So I had a.
That's cruel.
I know, because then we were all just like,
now who's the real victim?
I guess I'll just walk. I had a show that night.
So now he's depriving the world of laughter?
No, I walked to it. It was at the Santa Monica Promenade. So I walked down to the promenade.
Who's booking that?
I could probably get you on it if you want. I walked down to the promenade, and there was like, I had hours before the show, but I didn't know what to do.
How did you do a show that night?
I did a show that night. I needed to.
On a different note, when you talk about your divorce around married people, they seem to think that it might get on them.
Well, you know why I think that's true is I think every marriage, I think, is hanging by threads. It's just, and I don't mean that, it's just the nature of the beast. You are locked in with someone in a cubicle doing combat for many years.
Yes.
Things thrown at you constantly. Very difficult.
It
so
is.
I think when you talk about
who hated each other more and yet loved each other deeply, Simon and Garfunkel. All these famous musical duos, they can't stay together. I think we all remember where we were when we heard Hall & Oates was now going to be just Hall. And then sometimes you'll see playing at the Canyon Club and Oates.
Has every musical duo had just like a deep hatred? Tony Orlando and Dawn, I know, was rife with.
Oh, were they?
I'm kidding. I would just think.
I would. Well, it's like, you watch like Let It Be. If you've ever seen Let It Be, it's just 2 hours of the Beatles hating each other.
Yeah.
George Harrison and Paul McCartney just like, I'll play it any way you want. I only want to please you. Like they hate each other.
Hey, Linda McCartney, speaking of marriages, Linda McCartney, you just triggered it with the Beatles, left. No, not Linda McCartney. Mrs. Harrison, I forget her name.
Estelle.
No, do you remember the
None
woman?
of the Beatles ever slept with a woman named Estelle.
I know. She went with Eric Clapton. She left George.
Patty Harrison.
Okay, Patty Harrison.
Yeah.
And she famously said, they said to her, so what's the secret of happy marriage? She said, just staying together. Like she, in other words, was saying, look, nobody is in a happy marriage.
It's amazing. It's like she was this earth-shattering beauty that George Harrison met on the set of A Hard Day's Night and fell in love with her. And then Eric Clapton met her and then they had an affair. And then eventually she left George for Eric Clapton, but it did not harm the friendship of George and Eric Clapton. They became really good friends. At one point, I think like they had to write competing songs to see who would get her. And that's a good-natured tiff. It is. But then if you look at her, pretty. Yeah. But you'd expect.
But why are people going?
It's not like I can't even think of an earthly version of a woman that would be. She's not. She's pretty. Yeah. It's not like they were. She's pretty. It's like she's pretty. It's not like they were fucking the Statue of Liberty. Like, it would come to life and shrink down, bone George Harrison, fly back, stand in front of New York for a day. It's like, she's a pretty woman. It's not insanity. It's like, who is there even an example of like otherworldly gorgeousness?
Oh, you think love is temporary insanity? Like just
it's a chemical that's in chocolate, and they're gonna come. Why aren't they refining like the love pill? Like, 7-8 years into a marriage, you just take that every morning.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too personal because my wife doesn't have a podcast, so there's no equal time. Like for a lot of our parents, it wasn't an economic option, and it wasn't a societal option. And
right.
I can only speak for myself. Like we went shopping for furniture for my house together. And we start talking to the salesperson, and he's like, well, I'm buying a house. We're getting divorced.
Where was the store? And I'll tell you what she's
Well,
seen.
it was in Culver City.
Culver City is a
God's country.
God's country.
Yeah. I'll tell you the name of it if you ever want to buy awesome mid-century furniture. Galerie Semelith.
Say it again.
Galerie Semelith.
Yeah. Oh, I might want some.
Janet Varney hipped me to it.
Oh, cool.
She's my furniture Obi-Wan Kenobi. One of her many hidden talents.
Is that right?
Yes, that, and she can with one hand strangle a horse of any size. She has a myriad of talents.
I learned that at Santa Anita Racetrack, unfortunately.
Yes, she lost the trifecta, bounded over the transom, and brought down a horse. You've got to cup them right above the Adam's apple, and down they go like a pile of shit.
Taking people for granted is a huge, at least a huge thing. You should not take your partner for granted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
you got to work on it every day. You have to work on it every day.
And who wants to work on something every day? I've realized that about my career. What a pain in the ass the career is. It's like, really? Really? I should tweet between the hours of 2 and 6? With the internet, this shit never stops. Like, the day never ends.
Right. My non-private Instagram is woefully understaffed. And at a certain point, like, I can't, I have 4 careers as it is. I just can't keep up. And you just have to, and you look at like Elvis in 71.
Yeah.
After the Vegas comeback. When he was just huge.
Right.
And
huge physically?
No, 71 he was amazing. You got to watch Elvis.
Okay, when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
Elvis. I was never a huge Elvis guy.
Comeback Elvis. There was Elvis in the 50s.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 Elvises.
Wow.
There's 4 Elvises.
4 Elvises.
Elvis in the 50s, who sort of like...
By the way, does this mirror all of our lives, you think, what you're about to say?
The 4 Elvises of mankind.
Yes. Before you go any further,
yes.
Are these 4 Elvises an analogy for all of us?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Elvis in the 50s, who took the world by storm because it was black music with a white face. So people were allowed to listen to it.
Gotcha.
Elvis in the 60s, he was Lyle Wagner making terrible movies that I adore.
You do?
Yeah. And
you were a big Elvis fan, huh?
Yeah, I love Elvis. And those movies were, if nothing else, the source of what I think is Eddie Murphy's funniest bit about how he would just sing his lines. Elvis, we got to win this race. We got to win this race.
That is funny.
Elvis, want some lemonade? Lemonade. That cool, refreshing drink. Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, and while he was doing these crappy movies, which I love,
the
60s happened. While the Beatles are playing I Am the Walrus, Elvis is singing clam bake, gonna have a clam bake. Like, he's just completely miles apart. Checkered flag. He's miles apart from what's going on.
Boy, that really did divide into people who did drugs and the people who
it really did.
Drugs.
And then
clam bake,
gonna have a clam bake. Not long after that, Elvis quits the movies and decides to have a musical comeback, and he goes to Vegas and becomes like what we know of Elvis now with the jumpsuits. But at his height in Vegas, like 1971, Elvis in Vegas, it's the hottest ticket on the planet. Woodstock had come and gone, and the 60s dream was basically over. Elvis was on fire. He was a 32 waist. He was amazing, playing the Hilton. Everybody in show business, like you look at there's a documentary about it called Elvis, That's the Way It Is. And you look at the opening night in the Hilton, Cary Grant is in the audience. At that point, he just did a show a day. He didn't have to tweet. He didn't have to blog.
He did it.
He didn't have to Instagram. Going down to breakfast. Here's my pancakes. Getting ready for the show. Hashtag jumpsuit at the dry cleaners. Like, he was just able to live his day.
Oh,
he didn't,
God.
I'm going to do Jerry Lee Lewis's podcast. Then I'm going to tweet that I'm driving home. I'm going to Instagram my towel before I get in the shower. Then I'm going to... No, he just did a show. And he was the biggest thing on the planet. Abe Lincoln built the Transcontinental Railroad and managed the Civil War. Didn't tweet, Instagram. Horrible. / Gettysburg tragedy. Anyways, his history, he did have an Instagram. It was mustacheless. That was him, Abe Lincoln on Instagram. Just a closet full of stovepipe hats. That was his icon. 47 hats in one closet. But you don't have to do all of that stuff. You just do what you do and hope people find you. That's all.
Even now. Are you saying that even now?
Yes, even now.
Because
I tweet, I make, my podcast comes out once a month.
Right.
Well, less so if I'm in the middle of buying a new house. I tweet when I have something funny to say or something to plug.
Yeah.
I never tweet going to buy plums. Hashtag Whole Foods. And people like it. And I'm not the biggest. I'm not the biggest. I'll never be the biggest. I'm fine with it.
Right. Well, I think the trap of it is it feels. It just is. It feels like when you get into that tweeting, Instagrammy, Facebooky thing, it feels like it's a monster that needs to be fed, at least in my head.
If we're talking about musical duos, especially musical duos with problems in the getting along department, then we have to talk about the Louvin Brothers. The Louvin Brothers, the stage name of real-life brothers Charlie and Ira Loudermilk. They were giants in the world of country music, regulars on the Grand Ole Opry during its heyday in the late 40s and 50s. They were God-fearing Southern Baptists who crossed over into mainstream country music from the world of gospel, which is fitting, because they sang like angels. Ira Louvin had originally intended to become a preacher, spreading the good word on the glories of heaven. And when you think about the childhood they endured, growing up during the Depression in Sand Mountain, Alabama, it's not hard to see how they would think of heaven. Sometimes life deals you a hand, and the best way to get through the day is to just keep thinking, maybe stuff gets better after we're dead. In his memoirs, Charlie Louvin describes a time when young Ira, who suffered from, let's call it impulse control, wanted a persimmon from their father's cherished persimmon tree. But the persimmons were out of reach. So he did what anyone would do. He fetched an axe and chopped the tree down. Charlie writes, Papa never whipped any of the girls, but neither of us boys were strangers to getting beaten, especially Ira. If Papa was calm, just punishing us for doing something that we'd known was wrong, he'd find a hickory limb, about as big around as his thumb, and whip us with it. He called it a width, and it'd wrap all the way around you. It hurt like hell, of course, and you'd scream and holler, but it wouldn't do any real damage. Papa wasn't always calm when he came after Ira to give him a whipping. And when he wasn't calm, he wouldn't wait to find a width of hickory. He'd beat him with whatever was at hand. Chunk of firewood, piece of furniture, whatever. Ira grew up with a deep and unabiding love of persimmons. And by persimmons, of course, I mean liquor. Charlie writes, It was an ugly thing when Ira drank, and there was no fun in it. He got mean, too. When he drank whiskey, you wouldn't have known it was him except to look at him. The way he talked and acted, you'd see a true Jekyll and Hyde. You couldn't do nothing to please him. Those of us who got the tough end of it learned to just stand aside and pray he didn't notice us. And so they rose to fame, with Charlie Louvin suffering in silence as Ira somehow managed to strike a fine balance between his deep religious faith and his volcanic temper, violent behavior, reckless womanizing, and Titanic whiskey consumption. And I'm telling you, you think Keith Richards lives life on the edge? He ain't got shit on Ira Louvin. The deep and profound swings of Ira's personality pendulum were reflected in their work, with traditional gospel songs such as The Christian Life and There's a Higher Power.
When burdens seem to overcome that higher power who's faithful and...
Sharing the bill with such dark, delirious gems as The Kneeling Drunkard's Plea, The Drunkard's Doom. Drunkards feature prominently in the Louvin repertoire. Another favorite, a heartwarming hymn, Are You Afraid to Die? But none of these hold a candle to the Louvin's towering achievement, a little ditty called Satan is Real.
Satan is real, working in spirit.
Satan is Real. From the album Satan is Real, which has, for my dollar, the greatest album cover of all time, with the Louvin singing, arms outstretched, amidst a sea of flaming brimstone. And then, looming behind them, a 12-foot cardboard Satan. It was designed to be serious, but comes across more like a preschool salute to Ronnie James Dio. We can argue till the cows come home as to whether Satan actually is real, but there's no doubt that Ira Louvin had a demon dwelling deep down within. A demon named Sir Whiskey P. Liquor. As their career gained momentum, so did Ira's drinking and rages. They were Elvis Presley's favorite gospel duo, but he never recorded one of their songs. Why? Because on the first and last night they performed with Elvis, Ira casually called him a rather insulting name, one that rhymed with the last word in the expression, go figure. He would frequently perform drunk, pick fights, smash his cherished mandolin. The bigger the opportunity, the better the odds Ira would sabotage it. His brother Charles once opined that he felt guilty for not becoming a preacher, felt that he had turned his back on God, and drank, raged, and sabotaged himself, all in a long, protracted orgy of self-loathing. And that, my friends, is the one kind of orgy you will see me at. Ira had 4 wives, but it was wife number 3, Fay Loudermilk, who took the cake. She could match Ira drink for drink, and when they drank, they would fight. One night, after a disagreement about God only knows what, Ira came to the conclusion that the only way to solve their seemingly intractable dilemma was to strangle Fay with some phone cord. So she did the only thing that seemed reasonable to her at the time. She shot him with a .22. 6 times. But Ira did not die. Like Javier Bardem in Skyfall, life clung to him like a disease. Believe it or not, it was Charlie who took more shit than anybody else in this episode for having Fay committed to a mental hospital. Apparently, despite having shot her husband 6 times, no one thought Fay was nuts. Apparently, Ira was just that much of a bastard. And getting her out of the cuckoo bin took a lot more than getting her in, apparently. Like so many things, getting into the asylum is the easy part. Ira and Fay went their separate ways, as did Ira and Charlie, sadly and eventually. Fed up with his brother's behavior, Charlie lit out on his own. Ira kicked around for a while, but was killed just 2 years later, in 1965. By, of all things, a drunk driver. Oh, the irony. And if, as Ira so fervently believed, Satan is real, then that must mean that God is real too. And if God is real, then perhaps Ira can pull him aside and ask him why. Why, after all the close brushes with death, by his own hand or because of his own actions, he was killed by a drunk driver he had not known nor had ever met. And God, in his wisdom, would most probably look down and say unto him, Po buddies, nerf it. I suppose you are now dying to hear Satan is Real or read Charlie Louvin's excellent, excellent, excellent memoir, also called Satan is Real, and with equally impressive packaging, by the way. Why not go to danagould.com, click on our Amazon banner, and shop away? You get exactly what you want at no extra charge, and we get a little something to help keep the lights on. Is it just that easy, you ask? Why, yes, it is in fact. When it comes to making money, we like to keep things simple. So after that, when do you realize after something like that that it's fucked you up?
Well,
mentally.
Yeah,
Did you sleep that night?
I slept that night. Sleeping's never been a problem for me, though.
I wish I could say that.
Well, I guess it's a problem in the opposite way, in that I can
No,
sleep
that's not a problem.
For 48 hours.
Oh. There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
can slip into comas because if I sleep, I don't have to actively experience the terror that I'm feeling.
Right. I think that's called hypersomnia.
Is it really? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a form of it comes from depression.
Yeah.
Tim Burton used to get it.
Oh, interesting.
And it takes away your ability to tell a story.
And it makes you make Johnny Depp wear a funny hat.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, to me, and it has happened. We're recording this on September 6th.
Yeah.
The kids started school on Wednesday. To me, we are now in official pre-Halloween season.
Oh, big season.
Big season for me. Anchoring up to pre-Halloween season. I drove today by a Spirit Halloween store.
Are those up?
Yeah, they're up.
They're ready.
It makes me so happy. I know. It
just warms your heart.
It does.
Yeah.
In the Spirit store was a lot of Johnny Depp as Tonto costumes.
That seems
that
surprising.
Will still be there. Well, they had to make these things in the spring.
Yeah.
And, they knew the movie's coming out, and they're like, this is going to be the hot ticket.
This
Crank
movie
them out.
is going to break America.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to love it.
Yeah. And so, they're like, crank them out. And then they're like, oh, shit, it closed in 2 days. And now we're stuck. That will not be a big costume.
No, I can't imagine it will be.
Which means that somehow they're going to, and I'm convinced that movie was made because Johnny Depp just went, I want to wear a bird on my head. Like, go through that pile of scripts and see if there's something that he can wear a bird on his head. Here's the story of the Depression. Did Herbert Hoover ever have a bird on his head?
Can we write that in? Maybe it's artsy.
Maybe the bird could symbolize supply side economics. And they're going to have to do something with all of these, or it's going to be one of these things where they just find a way to get rid of them, and in 2 years you're going to see a
lot of ironic Tontos,
or a flood in the Philippines, and all these people in the Red Cross handing out Tonto costumes.
To people that just experience a flood.
Yeah. And they think because they're primitive that the bird, that they hold on, that the bird will start flying them out of there.
Oh, God. I would still venture to guess that Jack Sparrow will be a bigger costume than Tonto this year.
Yeah. I think Jack Carter will be a bigger costume than Tonto this year. Kids with that bad dye job complaining that Joey Bishop stole their jokes. Joey Bishop stole my best stuff. Trick or treat. Kids love dressing up as Jack Carter.
Sure, and doing the voice.
And the captain, Daryl Dragon.
Oh, my God.
Now, I know it's early. Do you know your costume? Because you stole my heart when you showed me.
Oh, yeah, my Black Dahlia costume.
Yeah, I was like, we're going to be friends.
That was my favorite costume. No, I haven't figured it out this year. I'm not even close to figuring it out, but I do need to come up with something.
I saw one last night online while I was looking for something else. And I tend to go with comfort. Is there a costume that involves me wearing a sweater or a sweatshirt Like the original Star Trek is a good one.
Yeah.
Jeans and black pants and a shirt. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to be,
Experiencing a nightmare the whole night.
my daughter's friend, like 3 years ago, his parents, who are really talented and smart, but they made him Van Gogh's self-portrait. And this poor kid had to walk around with a giant painting after 3 houses. He's like, I'm tired. Like, you're shit out of luck, Oliver. It's Halloween. I'm going till the sky turns pink.
I don't like children in costumes that prove how smart or witty the parents are.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%.
Irritating thing.
I'm the deficit.
It's like, okay, real
I'm
cute.
Obamacare.
Okay.
I'm with you 100%.
Let your mom
let
you have a childhood.
This looked a little wonky, but No Face from Spirited Away. If you saw Spirited Away.
Interesting. That would be scary for some reason. Is it?
Yeah, it is.
It's a little bit scary to see in person. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
No, I don't care for that. No, I haven't thought.
Or just some. I love cross-pollen. I saw one year like zombie Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Zombie Ariel.
I like when people do.
Yeah, cross-pollinating. I mean, like Vampire the Butler.
Yeah, God, I guess I have a lot to think. I tend to go for costumes. Well, Black Dahlia was actually pretty makeup heavy. I usually don't go for that.
Yeah.
That was just, I thought
she would have needed a lot.
She would. Yeah, I know. She had a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had like the huge scars across my face. And then I smile and laugh a lot. And so
Which is why people love you.
But they just kept like wrinkling, and it was really disgusting in person. So,
well, again,
the photos were better
yeah.
than the actual thing.
Your first night, you sleep well, you're good.
Yeah, I go, I do a show.
Did you talk about it?
Yeah. I also destroyed, I did so well.
Of course
I just
you did,
needed,
yeah.
But
because it was real.
You know what? I mentioned it really briefly, which is that I made this joke about how I am a workaholic and I go to work on my day off a lot. And I need to stop doing that because I did that today, and I work at Santa Monica College, and the whole audience was like, "Oh!" and then I just tricked them into loving me because of that, and it felt great. I needed it. I needed it that night.
My experience is you can trick someone into loving you for 18 years.
And then I just need to work on my skills,
and then it stops.
But yeah,
and before you know it, there's SWAT team people come into your bedroom and they go, "Raise your hands and get out of here."
No, they say put your hands in the air.
Sorry. Put your hands in the air. What are you doing? I'm trying to care about this. Like you just don't care. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I slept. Yeah, I did great at my show, and I got a ride home from one of the people on the show.
Oh, of course, because your car is in Santa Monica.
Because my car was stuck, and then I went home and I slept fine.
Slept like a baby.
Then, I mean, that might be strong. I was a little anxious, but I fell asleep okay and got enough sleep. But then the next day, and basically the rest of the week, I was like a zombie. I was like nothing. I didn't go back to work that week. And, people did it at their own. We were all told, you could do it at your own pace, figure out what's right for you. So I went back.
Oh, I'd still be out.
Yeah, I went back onto the campus that Monday for the, they had a
memorial,
a vigil. Yeah.
And that's healthy to do. You need, closure.
Yeah, and I couldn't do it at first. I drove to the campus to do it, and then I drove in circles. I kept shaking my arms as I drove by the parking lot.
Let's just shine a light on this one aspect.
Okay.
If you go to the vigil,
yeah,
and you have conflicted feelings about attending,
yeah,
and you drive in circles in the parking lot, it's understandable.
Yeah.
If you go to the vigil and think, before I go to the vigil, I'm going to do some donuts, that's not cool.
But They're so fun.
There was a thing on The Simpsons. I think Mike Scully wrote it. Like somebody was like, I don't know what it was, Bart or somebody was getting X-rayed or something, and Homer goes, "I'm just going to wait in the parking lot," and then you just cut to just doing these horrible donuts, like one after another after another. And the car finally stops, and you just hear Homer going, "Love is a battlefield."
Oh my God, that sounds therapeutic, though.
Yeah, it does. Oh, sure. Well, stand-up is very therapeutic. And,
Yeah.
No, I found when I had my, when I realized earlier in the summer that I was going to have a new address, I started hiking a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just like every day I would have to walk for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we lived near this canyon, and I would just go up, and I literally burned through a pair of like hiking shoes.
Oh,
wow. Through June and July.
That is a
because I
lot
just
of
kind of
hiking.
like dig in.
Right.
And, I listen to loud music.
Yeah.
And just
really lean into that.
I lean in, and I run as much as I can. And then, I'm sort of like a billy goat having a nervous breakdown.
Sure.
But then you're doing like, okay, I feel better.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It makes
you have a lot of
better.
kinetic energy that you have to expend.
Yeah. I mean,
And you go through that thing as a different kind of PTSD, clearly. Yours is much worse. But then you do go through the stages of like, is this real? Is this happening?
Yeah.
Did that really happen?
Yeah.
That did happen. Am I going to wake up? No, that happened.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like it's confusing. Like life becomes really confusing. That's how I ended up for the rest of that week following. I was like just confused. I was confused all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Like I constantly, the like confusion in like the dumbest things. I would like park my car somewhere and get out and then look at it, and it was like not a parking space. Like,
because your brain's just scrambled.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is like the sidewalk. What am I doing?
This is a lake.
And I couldn't get anything done. I was a real mess.
And did you go to a doctor that said, "Oh, you have post-traumatic stress"?
Yeah, so they had crisis counselors for us, but it was on the campus, so I was slow going to.
Right, yeah, naturally, yeah.
But first I went to a crisis.
And you had to go by majorette practice.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to a crisis counselor the first day that I went to the campus by myself. Because for the vigil, I ended up having to drive down to I had a friend that was working at the Apple store at the Promenade, and I walked in crying. And I go, "When do you get off work? Will you come with me?" And I had to have him drive and then just be with me so that because then I could, with someone there, I was like accountable and I could like go and do it. But by myself, I was like, I just can't do it.
Sure.
And so that helped. And then like I went back onto the campus toward the end of that week by myself, and I walked around and just everything was like flooding me with emotion. And I walked into the crisis counselor office, and I'm like sobbing. I think like people were not doing this. Like I was looking around, and nobody else was acting this way, and I was like, oh, something's happening with me. I'm taking this harder than everybody else. Right. And I walked in, and the crisis counselor looks at me and was like, like takes me into the room, and she talks to me for a few minutes. And
now, these crisis counselors, how do they get there? Does the FBI bring them in?
No, so they were provided by the college.
Okay, but they are professional guidance. Guidance counselors.
Well, so some of them were the guidance counselors from the college.
Maybe like a pamphlet. For big rig trucking. Maybe you like to be a long haul trucker. What? Now the crisis counselors are just hanging around comic book stores. I can't believe Ben Affleck is Batman. All right, talk about your feelings.
They were like, licensed therapists from like around the area that deal with like crisis and trauma. And so this woman was talking to me, and she's like, you sound like, it's fine. Everybody's going to experience this at different levels. And she was like, I will say the behavior you're describing, the like confusion and the like apathy, is if you continue on that path, those are signs of severe to moderate PTSD. So keep an eye on it, huh? And I was like, okay. And then for some reason, I don't know why she thought this would help me, but she was like, here's a planner that will maybe, like, if you just write down things you're going to do every day, that'll help. And
yes. No, I'm not in any way drawing an analogy.
Okay.
But I was told by a friend of mine I see on a weekly basis for 1 hour.
Sure, a close friend.
A close friend. He sits in a chair and I sit on a couch.
Yeah. That's just how his living room is set up.
Yes. It's good to, what you don't want to do is become sort of untethered.
Yeah.
You just, when you're in shock.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to, like, okay, tomorrow at 3 I have to be here. I have a purpose. I have to do this, and then tomorrow I have to do this.
Which that is the advice that she gave me. Although, so here was the problem with the planner was it had a photo.
So for me in June, it was a lot of tomorrow at 3. I'm not going to do the podcast. Next week at 7, I'm not doing the podcast.
Sure. We all noticed. No.
Yeah, believe me, I heard. Very nice, though. Nice to be wanted. Nice to be wanted. Hint, hint. You know who I'm talking to. I know you still listen.
This planner that this woman gave me, though, had like a photo of the library on it, which is where the shooting happened. And she kind of
and then the Texas School Book Depository on the back cover.
She kind of like laughed. She was like, "Oh, if you can handle looking at the library," and I was like, this makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Like looking at this photo. And she was like, it'll be helpful. And that was the last time I went to one of those counselors.
My advice to you would be to not watch The Matrix. I mean, could you not? So, like you were talking about, like Breaking Bad. Can you not watch like movies with gunfire? Or you slowly? I
don't think I can. I went to see Superman with a friend,
right.
Which I don't have a dog in the fight. I didn't care.
You mean you didn't care if General Zod won or Superman won? You didn't care.
I was indifferent to all of it.
I think it's interesting that Superman clearly killed about 250,000 people.
That was crazy.
But only got upset when General Zod died.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, you people are like ants. But he's something.
So my friend invited me to a movie, and we went and saw this movie, and like the trailers started, and there was like a trailer for one of those like the White House is blowing up movies that came out this summer.
Well, there was a movie this summer called Two Guns.
Yeah.
Why don't they just gun fuck? You know, Frank Conniff, TV's Frank of Mystery Science Theater, used like every movie basically boils down to kill fuck. That's every movie.
It's true.
Yeah.
But so like the trailers were starting, and the second gunfire started, like I could feel my eyes welling up, and I was like, oh shit, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I thought I would. Yeah. I thought maybe
I'm going to go watch Behind the Candelabra again.
Zone out for a while. But I wanted to be able to, so I stayed for the whole movie. But like for about an hour of that movie, I was just like looking down, like quietly crying.
Well, you weren't the only one.
Yeah. But yeah, lucky for me, it was that movie and so many nerds.
Yeah, that's how Bob Iger was at the Lone Ranger. That is about as inside of a joke as there's ever been on this show. Bob Iger, CEO of Disney.
But the other thing that happened was I went to...
That's really obnoxious. I just said.
I went to there was a stand-up show that I went to, and it was like their last one. There was this show that these 4 guys run it, and they were like skater guys, and they were having their last one. And I went, and it was really crowded, so they made me sit on the stage toward the back, and like with like 20 people, like we were all in there, and it was very hot and crowded.
To sit on the stage,
and then they did this gag in the middle of the show where someone came out and they told the story about the first time that this guy did this. They shot him with a paintball gun from the sound booth during the show, and haha, wasn't that funny? and now let's reenact it by all taking a shot from a paintball.
Oh, gee.
And I was sitting on the stage, and they pull out a paintball gun, and I was like, oh no, I do not know what to do right now. And I just looked down. I was like panicking. I had no idea what to do because I was on the stage too.
Right, you're on the stage.
The only way out was like across the stage. And they were already like one person goes and stands against the back of the stage, which was like 3 feet away from me. And the other person stands at the front of the stage with the paintball gun, and they shoot the person standing on the back of the stage. And like, I was like, okay, well, it's paintballs, and I know all these people, and it's fine. Like, and I was like talking myself into it. Mm-hmm. And then the first shot happens, and I just start crying. I was like, no, I can't do it. And I just like looked down and closed my eyes, and I was like, okay, I have to just wait for this to be over. There's 4 of them, and then it'll be over. And I looked across the stage, and a friend of mine was sitting there, and he started mouthing to me, "You're okay," because he knew what was happening. There were like 2 people in the building that knew what was happening with me. And he was like, "You're okay." And I was like, "No." and then my body started shaking, like hard, like the hardest.
Right, yeah.
And then I just looked down and like kind of power through it. The second it's over, I get up and I bolt and I run into the backstage. And there was this comedian standing there. This guy, he was so sweet to me because he was the only other one. His name's Dan Telfer, and he like put his hands on my shoulder and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, get out of here. Yeah. And he kind of like ushered me out, and I just like bolted, and I was like, I can't. What is happening to me? Well. I thought I was safe at a show.
No. I think people are like that when they're in a place that has a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like when they're just at the laundromat and suddenly somebody starts an open mic. And you're like, no!
What is happening?
Yeah.
I thought I was safe doing laundry.
Exactly. I don't want to be at a show. People shouldn't have stand-up inflicted upon them.
That was the worst of it. Like after that, I really took it easy for a long time, and I just stopped going places until I could feel a little better. And things haven't triggered it a ton since, except for Breaking Bad, which totally triggered it.
Right.
Because the experience they show her having is like such a direct parallel to my experience of like being underground and then hearing everything and going upstairs, that I was watching it with a bunch of friends, and I just the same reaction. Like I started crying, and I was like, I thought I could handle.
Right. Yeah, no, that was exquisitely tailored.
It was amazing that it was
rock your world.
Pretty much my exact thing.
Right.
And I wondered if I didn't know. I don't think anybody else from the college, or from KCRW, had experienced that with I know we're all watching Breaking Bad. Right. Nobody else said anything.
Oh, that's funny. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Outside of that, anything else this summer?
No. That was it. That was my thing.
No. Fine. One story.
All that stuff was going on. Where was Sinatra in that?
Sinatra Live at the Sands came out the same year as Revolver. He was just, the Rat Pack was still at high dudgeon, 64, 65, 66, which is like the ascent of the Beatles. The Rat Pack they're there. They're just playing to their audience.
Right. It's generational stuff.
It's a generational thing. Sinatra in 66 that was an amazing show. He was at the Sands Hotel with Count Basie.
Right. Because I'm reading right now a biography of Tony Bennett. And Tony Bennett was one of these guys who was not an envious dude. He just was like, Sinatra's the best.
And the polar opposite of Tony Bennett, Buddy Rich.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because there was whatever
Buddy Rich, the drummer?
Yeah, whatever was the band.
Right. Big band.
I think it was Gene Krupa was the drummer, and he became a big star. And then Gene Krupa left the band and then went off to be on his own. Yeah. And then they hired this other drummer, Buddy Rich, and Buddy Rich was like, now this is my turn. I'm going to be a big star. And at the same time they hired a drummer, they hired a singer, this guy Frank Sinatra. Oh. And Frank Sinatra took off, and Buddy felt like that Frank took his spot. And Buddy was just driven by rage for the rest of his life.
Was this the Count Basie Orchestra, by the way?
I don't think it was the Count Basie Orchestra. I think it was not Glenn Miller, but
so
some
he was
older.
driven by rage.
Yeah, he was driven by rage. And the famous tapes of Buddy Rich yelling at his band, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's an old joke about Buddy Rich that after he passed away, like a guy would call his wife in Palm Springs, "Is Buddy there? I'm sorry, Buddy's dead." Oh, click. Next day. "Hi, is Buddy there? I'm sorry, Buddy's dead." Oh, click. Next day. "Is Buddy there? Why do you keep calling?" "I'm sorry, I just can't hear it enough."
That's a great joke.
Yeah. Clam bake, gonna have a clam bake. He'd just sing about it.
Because Sinatra was a rock star too. I mean,
huge.
Big time.
Yeah. And then his daughter was huge.
Oh, I forgot about
Nancy.
that. These boots are made for walking.
Nancy had a bunch of hits. You Only Live Twice.
I remember that one. These boots are made for walking.
You remember You Only Live Twice? It's the James Bond movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was her. That was her.
Yeah, that's Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah, his kid, though, Sinatra's kid didn't do too well.
Well, what?
Frank Sinatra Jr.
Frank Sinatra Jr. And
Can you imagine trying to fill that slot?
That name is an act of child abuse.
Yes.
It really is. Why do you just call him Me the Lesser? That is a horrible name.
Oh, man, you're right.
Yeah, it's a brutal thing. John Lennon Jr. It's, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julian was close enough. It should have been like Hank.
It should have been Frank Smith.
Yeah. Hank Lennon. Well, that's how I like...
Gus Lennon.
Gus Lennon.
How you doing?
But if you just did something totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the best underwater welder you're going to meet. I'm the Beatles of underwater welding. You know, somewhere out there is the Beatles of underwater welding. You know, that's the definition of like the.
Hey,
best
but
you
that
can
is
be.
a true thing, though. That everybody has their little circle of fame.
I love it.
No matter what the fuck they do.
Yeah.
There's a guy who does, molding around windows who gets so much pussy.
Finish
you know what
molding.
I mean? Finish molding, who is like a pussy magnet. You know, that kind of thing.
What the fuck do you think is going on here? You had too many fucking days off and you think this is the game? You think I'm the only one that's going to work out there while you motherfuckers sit out there and clam all over this fucking joint? What do you think this is, anyhow? What kind of plane do you think this is? What kind of miscues do you call this? What fucking band do you think you're playing on, motherfuckers? You want to fuck with me on the bandstand? Shut that fucking door.
My dad hated rock and roll. I was so into the Beatles when they came out, and he would just click off the radio. He was a classical music guy, which I now appreciate.
Sure.
But he was brutal. Like, he didn't let me go, I like it. He would like, come on, this is garbage. He was like Walter Matthau in The Odd Couple. This is garbage.
I don't want to speak in absolutes, but I think that everyone agrees that all classical music is terrible.
It's so funny how it depends on the mood I'm in with classical. There are times when I'll have classical music on in the car and just go, what is this morbid shit?
Yeah.
I want to hear someone go, the reason I love you, the reason I love you.
Yeah, I do too. I have, as I get older, I've developed a visceral hatred of Simon and Garfunkel. Like, I'll punch the dashboard. If I was living in like New York in 1967 or 68, I would
Vietnam, Greenwich Village.
But I would be so crazily, just the culture was so explosive and exciting. So much fun to be had. And you read your Emily Dickinson, and I'm my Robert Frost. Fuck you. Cheer up, you douchebag. Fuck you. I fucking hate that shit.
I have to confess,
And we note our place with bookmarkers that measure what we've lost. Fuck you. God damn it, I hate that self-piteous, ponderous bullshit. God damn it. Fuck you.
Paul Simon then burst onto the world music scene after that stuff.
Yes.
He was like, diamonds on the soles of a shoe.
Which I love. Great album. Graceland.
Yeah.
Great album.
Yeah. A lot more upbeat.
Great album. Yeah, it's just like this every song. And just the bullshit about poetry. I read my Robert Frost. Oh, suck a dick.
I grew
Jesus
up in a
Christ.
depressive household, so I did like that. Excuse
I
me. I did
liked
like
it a
that
lot.
music for a while. Like, hello, darkness, my old friend, cut to me masturbating. You know what I mean?
That's a great song. So, Sounds of Silence is a classic song. But does every
I know
fucking song and they could be down, but they could have. Can they have some humor? Like the Smiths have really dark, ponderous songs, but they're funny.
Now that's
they're also
interesting.
the Smith songs are girlfriend in a coma. I know it's Syria. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
You know, I love The Cure. The Cure have really downbeat stuff.
Yeah.
They also have just, I don't know, maybe it's just a personal taste.
And
but
that's
I just
funny
hate
because
that affected, somber Smith College.
I know. I was into that for a while back then when I was completely depressed. But Paul Simon, speaking of guy, he does have a sense of humor. I mean, that guy, he's got a big sense of humor, Paul Simon. You know,
he's best friends with Lorne Michaels, who has been photographed next to many comedians. I just cannot.
Funny that you have that vitriol for Simon and Garfunkel.
They're both lovely people. I'm sure they're both the nicest people on earth. But that, are you going to Scarborough Fair? Like people who wear scarves when it's not cold.
Oh, you don't remember though? At the zoo, the monkey stands for honesty. Right. Giraffes are insincere, and the elephant. You know what I mean? That was their funny stuff.
Twee. WTWEE. I find it twee.
What is twee?
Just it's so close.
Oh, yeah.
Monkey.
Have you ever been a toaster in a toast in a toaster?
I wish. No, I even know it.
Ease myself down.
Coming up right. Old Roger Drive Dodger tripping down the basement door. Everybody knows what he's tiptoeing down there for. And there was here's the worst one. Are you ready? This is just gouge my eyes out.
Yeah.
Old friends.
Oh.
Sit on their park bench like bookends.
The reason I'm
how terribly strange to be 70. Not really. Not really.
I gotta tell you though, that was the song. When I broke up with a woman and I was with for 7 years, for I don't know, a month, I was listening to Old Friends. You know how you obsess on one song that says it, that puts you in the place you want to wallow when you're going through an intense.
For me, that song was a brilliant mistake from Elvis Costello's King of America.
Yeah. For me, it was Old Friends. How pathetic is that? That actually took me into a psychotic place.
Actually, the guy who kept those women prisoner in his basement, when he hung himself, he was playing Old Friends. But they thought he might have been hanging himself just because of the music.
Art Garfunkel was in. He was there. He was doing it live.
There's the definition of a guy who can dish it out and can't take it.
Art Garfunkel.
No, the guy that kidnapped those women.
I thought it was Art Garfunkel.
No, Ariel Castro keeps women prisoner in his house for 11 years. He's in prison for 30 days and he can't take it. He sucks the pipe.
Sucks the pipe. Yeah. Pussy.
Pussy, exactly. Coward. Hi, coward. How's it going, coward? That's what they say. That's what he says in hell now. Hitler sees him every day. Hello, coward. How are you, coward? Oh, look, it's a coward.
Hitler actually, after Germany lost the war, he didn't last very long. He didn't want to go through any kind of downtime. No, because we were talking about how brutal this business is. We're talking about how brutal show business is.
Which naturally leads to the fall of the Third Reich. Continue. I'm listening.
No, I mean, the tough people in this business are the people who endure.
Yes.
And Hitler could never have been in show business. I mean, no. He was on a high there for a while.
And when he got canceled.
He just took his life.
Yeah, that's true. But I love, he really took the coward's way out.
Totally.
You know who has more balls than Hitler? Somebody I really fucking admire.
Warren Littlefield?
No, I can hear people switching up. Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah. Well, you mean that
she was supposed to be president.
Yeah.
It was hers. And Barack Obama came out of nowhere and just cleaned her fucking clock.
Yes. And that was a big humbling.
Which,
by the way, that's all life is a big humbling.
It's a big humbling.
That's all it is. It's a big humbling.
All political careers end in defeat. But she did not stay bitter, disappear. She was pissed off for a while, I'm sure, deservedly so, went back to work, did an amazing job.
But come on, don't you think, and I don't know if this takes away from what you're saying, she's got that long game plan. She is
exactly
in
what
it
I mean.
for that long game.
Sure. But that's the whole
she
point.
She still wants to be president.
Absolutely. And
probably, you think she might be? I don't know.
She could be. If here's my political prediction.
Yeah.
Way far away.
Yeah.
If Chris Christie can get the Republican...
We're talking about that guy.
If Chris Christie can get the Republican nomination, which I don't think he can, because Republican primary voters are in that extremely far-right Tea Party frame of mind, and they don't want to let a moderate like Chris Christie in. They're really into party purity now. That's
what fucks them now.
Yes, and it's what fucked the Democrats in the 70s.
Right.
And they're doing it now. If he can get the nomination, I think he would win. Otherwise, I think it's hers.
Interesting.
But I mean,
I know you don't really want to talk about this in depth, neither do I. But who would beat her as a Republican?
Chris Christie, I think, could beat her. I do.
Oh, I see. Oh, you just said that.
Yeah, he could.
I'm still back at old friends.
Yeah. Why did you bring that up?
I just see.
And the worst one?
Yeah.
Silent night. Bombs fell in Vietnam today.
Yeah.
The president says, get ready for 7 more years of war. Fuck you!
But going back to what you were talking about, wasn't that part of the folk when folk stuff was really fucking
so on the
hot.
nose? But it's so on the. That's not a better song than Masters of War. There's a better song.
Oh, that's the.
You know what I'm saying?
I still sing.
I couldn't be a bigger Dylan fan. I'm not saying I don't like folk music. I just don't like. And you're again Dylan, funny,
a funny guy,
sharp, funny. Yeah. On his new album, he has a great line. You have the same eyes your mother does. If only you knew who your father was.
Have you seen him live recently at all?
I saw him live. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Especially now that he's physically become Vincent Price, I really want to see him more.
Yes. And the last time
I'd like to sing a song called Mozambique. It's from the Desire album. I'd like to spend some time in Mozambique. The sunny skies are aqua blue. There's lots of pretty girls in Mozambique. You can stay a week or two, or maybe fall in love. Just me and you.
Vincent Price sings Mozambique from the Desire album.
Dylan is touring with Peter Cushing. At this point, Peter Cushing's kid, Ned Cushing, and Bob Dylan. Dylan is like the one
with that mustache.
He does though, because the last time I saw him, it was a while ago, maybe a few years ago. And I just love Dylan so much.
As do I.
And he came out in a white suit with a white fucking fedora. And he had that gaunt face.
Yeah.
And he doesn't talk much to the audience. So I'll just say, this is what I think you're going to like. Like, that's it. You're like, yes.
Right. Yeah, he's just got cast iron grapefruit balls.
Fuck yeah.
T-Shawn Shannon. Do you know T-Shawn Shannon?
I sure do. I just worked with him.
We went to the last Dylan concert.
You did?
Him. Yeah, he knows more about Dylan than anybody.
Yeah.
And he knows guys in in his band and stuff.
Cool.
And he says that you've got to learn all the songs, and he'll just change everything up, and he'll just go.
The arrangements are always different.
Yeah, and he'll just go. Let's do leopard skin pillbox hat, but let's do it in D. And Arnie, why don't you start us?
Yeah,
this is on stage at the show. Yeah, this is not in the run through. This is in.
Well, he's been doing these songs for like 100 years, so he needs to switch them up.
Yeah.
That's why I'll change pronouns on some of my older stuff.
on his Theme Time Radio show, Bob Dylan's Theme Time Radio Hour, Tom Waits would send him cassettes. Another guy that I love. And Tom Waits, again, I acknowledge acquired taste.
Yeah.
Because for every great song, there's a couple that just go, I don't know what he's singing about. I think he's reciting directions to tomato bisque.
And you cut up the onions and you put it in the sauce and a low simmer 2 hours 45. But don't let the onions rise to the top.
But if you're white and you hear that, you're like, this guy is so fucking cool.
I I own everything he does. I own every out. Yeah.
Hookers with names like Jelly Donuts. I was hooked after that.
Oh yeah. That's from Ninth and Hennepin from Rain Dogs. Oh yeah. I know it.
You know your Tom Waits.
I bought the deluxe version of Bad As Me. I'm a fan.
Ooh.
I love if I must.
What do you think of him in the movies?
I adore him.
He's
in the
pretty
movies.
good, right?
That's the kind of career I want. Like when he's the best thing.
Yeah.
In Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, he's the best thing in that movie. Just a weird, interesting little character part.
Yeah.
On Bob Dylan's Theme Time Radio Hour, his radio show.
Does he still have? I don't know this hour.
No, they did. I think they did 100 of them.
Okay.
And did it. But I have them all. I'll give them to you. They're amazing. It's not Bob's music. It's just Bob. It's a theme. Like it would be, this show was heavily influenced by Theme Time Radio Hour. It was, they would have a theme like, summer, and it would be an hour's songs about summer, but there'd be songs you've never heard of. It'd be like old songs.
I want to hear this.
Oh, it's just amazing. Eddie Gorodetsky produced it, which is how I get these stories. But Tom Waits literally would send Bob Dylan cassettes. Like he has a boom, like to Tom Waits, like the boombox is the greatest invention in history. And he would literally send Bob cassettes like, Bob, I learned something really interesting about crows. And then he would talk about crows for like 2 minutes. And Bob would play these on Theme Time Radio Hour, but he would never say, I got a cassette from Tom Waits. He would always like, I was buying a ladder at the hardware store and I bumped into Tom Waits. Like he would always put himself in this really mundane.
Is that right?
Yeah. I was buying a backpack at Eastern Mountain Sports.
So funny.
Yeah. And,
so funny.
And the thing about all of the people that we're talking about, they do what they do. And they don't have a partner to go to war with.
They don't? Oh, right. That's right. A la stand-up comedians.
It was never Dylan and Oates.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be good.
They did what they did, yeah. Dylan's still doing it. So is Tom Waits.
Yeah, see? Well, that's the other great thing about when you're a solo performer. You really can't break up with yourself.
Garfunkel, though, is still walking across Japan. He does shit like that.
Barefoot.
Yeah. You just hear about Art Garfunkel is walking across Japan this decade, like for an entire decade.
And just think about Art Garfunkel. How many times does this happen? He's walking through a town. People see him. They approach him. They say, are you who I think you are? He goes, oh, yeah, I am. Oh, what are you doing here? Well, I walk now. That's this big thing. I'm walking across the country. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. I grew up with you. Oh, that's really sweet. Now, Mo and Curly, are they alive?
This has been the Dana Gould Hour, brought to you by the Internet. Music by Andy Paley, with Jake Posner behind the board. Produced by Jeff Fox. Graphic design and web production by Spencer Hunt and Segan Friend. Sound editing and post-production by Jalinda Palmer and Joe Napolitano. Hey, if you like the show, why don't you drop us a line at show@danagould.com. Tom Kenny speaking.
I'm the Beatles of underwater welding.